Hello and welcome to Rohan, why are we doing this here?
You mean here in the basement?
Yeah, exactly. Why are we doing this here instead of out in the city where these two belong and we can talk about them properly?
Well, they belong in the city, but in the city there's so much traffic you can hardly talk about them. Forget about talking, you can't even look at them. But out here in the basement, I'm hardly noticing you. I can only look at the Renault Kwid and it's beautiful.
You know, I kind of get why, because it kind of looks like a French fashionista with those orange eyelashes and that blue lipstick.
Lipstick? What should you call this looks like that? No, wait, hang on. This looks like you. Just an ordinary guy wearing shirt and jeans. But forget about all that. We are not going to stay here because this time, yes, we are going to compare the cars and we are going to talk about them, but we are going to do it all while being on a hill climb.
Oh, so is this how you want to do it this time?
Yeah.
Can't wait to see which one gets to the top first.
Yes, and the fastest one up there also gets a cookie.
Wait, where is the top? Also, there's a cookie?
Well, a metaphorical one, otherwise it's just bragging rights. But on your way up there, you're going to encounter a pit stop. Don't forget to load up on Varun, Shumi and Abhi there.
Alright.
I go in first, in the Kwid. You leave when it's time.
Done.
Now the Kwid is a very pretty looking French lass on the outside. The same, however, cannot be said about the inside of the climber cabin. The plastics are a little too hard. It feels like I can scratch them with my nails. You have huge 1-liter bottle holders at the door pockets. There's lots of cubby holes, spaces for your phones and wallet, but there is hardly any space for your own self. And if I were to be sitting at the back in the rear seat, I can assure you, in a couple of hours, I would get very uncomfortable. Of course, I am a tall man. It does get some kit though, like a fully digital dash, which you can, by the way, touch with the tip of your finger. And you also get a rear view camera, you get Apple CarPlay, and then these sporty looking front two seats. The steering is agile and nice. It's light. It's nice, however, and light for city driving conditions when you want to park this small car in all sorts of small spaces. Out here, when I'm hustling up the hill, the steering is a little misleading, and that's also going to cost Kwid some time. But let's see how we fare. So I've always liked Renaults quite a lot, yeah, because, well, the engines are peppy, the cars do handle very well, like is the case this time around where there is very little body roll. Good job, Kwid. Oh, that's my pit stop, and here they are. Window down. Oh no, it's not one touchdown. All right, no problem. Keep it held. Thank you. Shumi, catch this. All right, hurry up and off we go. Nice, quick, fast pitch stop. Guys, we are going to win. Abhi? Now, if you happen to buy the Kwid, then most probably you're going to have people sitting inside the car. And this is going to be your family mostly. Family which is often going to coax you into those weekend temple runs. But the family is going to be all smiles and happy like these folks out here because of the ride quality, which is one of the highlights of the Kwid, has been so ever since it got launched, and it continues to be so.
Everybody in the house, let me hear you say yeah, yeah.
But it was making far better power at 4000 RPM when you guys weren't here, when there was no load. But now the climber is kind of struggling to climb up this hill. Abhi, the engine actually is working hard. I think the real problem is the lethargic AMT transmission out here and the fact that you don't get any means of going down a gear manually. Brakes are spongy, not very confidence inspiring when it comes to the stopping duties, but you don't have to worry, Abhi, because you and I, we get an airbag. Those two there, they don't.
Raise your hands up!
It's time. And off we go! Now, when Maruti calls this a mini SUV, there are a lot of things that they could be talking about. Take for instance the steeply raked windscreen, or for that matter just how unusually high I'm sat. But what I believe are the true determinants of a good mini SUV, as they call it, are three factors: the ride, the space, and the ground clearance. Now, the S-Presso's loose t-shirt has translated into a very roomy, spacious cabin, much more so than the Kwid's, and this includes the boot. As for the ride quality, well, it's surprisingly good. I'd even go so far as to say that this is probably one of Maruti's best riding hatchbacks ever. I have no idea what Rohan was thinking. Seatbelt? The 180 mm of ground clearance that the S-Presso gets, well, it's probably hampered a bit thanks to this slot here. But at the end of the day, it's honestly quite impressive because it still tackles everything on the road pretty simply. As for the 1 litre 3-cylinder engine, well, color me impressed because I was expecting it to struggle, especially thanks to our healthy guests over here. But it's actually doing pretty well. It's refined, it's punchy, it's not really struggling at all thanks to the load and the weight in the car right now. And finally, the AMT gearbox. What I can definitely tell you is that it's the best in the business right now. Don't get me wrong, it's obviously not as good as a conventional auto. The head nods are perceptibly less, the shifts are more seamless, and everything seems to be working pretty well, honestly. I'm honestly impressed from where Maruti came in with the first gen AGS and where it has ended up right now. Also, here's the party trick. I have a manual mode that Rohan doesn't, and that should allow me a better time up the hill. Let's hope I beat him.
That's rock and roll.
We are clearly not playing fair. I would not be surprised if you told me I lost. But tell me, what is my time? What? Seriously?
No, of course not. This whole thing, the hill climb part, it was of course staged, all of it.
But what hasn't been staged is what we've learned about these two cars today. And that the S-Presso is the better engineered car, the car with more finesse, and just a better car overall.
Yeah, and it's also younger to the Kwid by 4 years, which in car world could often mean a generation gap. And yet for the Kwid to emerge out victorious when going up against the S-Presso, it's going to need, yes, all the things that he said, and it's going to need 6 indispensable industry stars aligned together.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the winner of our little story, the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso.